I find it interesting, like Taika Waititi, he has so many people really like to give that guy shows and green lights and a lot of different stuff. I mean, he was poised at, I think 2 years ago, to do a Star Wars trilogy.
Oh my gosh.
And it was rumored to be Knights of the Old Republic, and we've seen nothing.
Nothing from
Just like
that
Ryan
time
Johnson,
period.
it seems like that's all canceled too. So I don't know what the future holds for him. He'll probably still do Marvel stuff, but I don't know. I feel like he's kind of hit the height of his fame right now, but I guess we'll see what happens, because I think he's still a really cool creative fella. I mean, just look at
Yeah.
Jojo Rabbit. Have you seen Jojo Rabbit?
Jojo Rabbit.
Oh yeah,
It's
such a great
it's
movie.
such a great movie.
What I like about Taika Waititi, What We Do in the Shadows is not quite as emotional, I would say.
No.
But Taika Waititi, if you've ever seen Boy,
It's a genius comedy.
or Whale Meets Squid, that has Jermaine Clemente, and they meet this girl at a party, and they're dressed in costumes, and it's can they have an adult relationship? And the problem is they're still kids, and they're in their 40s and their 30s. But all of his movies have a very strong emotional connection. Like Boy is basically about this boy trying to find his dad, and he wants to impress him with like these Michael Jackson moves. And in the end, Taika Waititi dresses up like Michael Jackson and has all the Maori kids do like a Thriller routine. And there's a very strong,
and there's a little bit of more
emotional
of that.
connection.
Yeah.
But I think you really got to see him shine in doing that for a larger audience in Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah.
And they gave him a lot of crap about playing Hitler,
which
and
was so
he is
weird.
Half
It's so
Polynesian,
bizarre.
Maori, and half Jewish. And they said you can't make fun of Hitler. And he was like,
Which
yes.
is so funny
It's so
because
weird.
for many, many years, Jews in Hollywood
Mel
were given
Mel
the green
Brooks.
light
Yeah.
to do all the Hitler parodies they
Time
want.
for Hitler
Yeah.
and Germany.
Well, 2019.
Yeah, I mean, Mel Brooks was famous for doing a rap
Yes!
song as Hitler, and so they're gonna turn around and tell Taika Waititi that he can't play Hitler.
Yeah.
It was
The
just so
Polynesian
funny to
Jew,
me.
you cannot
Yeah.
play Hitler. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of that too is a product of its time during Me Too.
Well,
it's canceling things.
Exactly. Like
It's
it's 2019. It was in the latter half of like
It was around
the
Christmas.
first term of Trump's presidency, and all the media going crazy over that kind of stuff, and more political,
People needed a channel for their
Yeah,
aggression,
political,
and it came
social
out in some
stuff
really
happening.
weird ways.
BLM, all that kind of stuff. Like, it's just craziness. So I get it why people were mad at it, but I also don't understand why. Like, it seemed like it was more like a farce to me.
Well, and I feel
Just to
like
cause trouble.
What's really good in Jojo Rabbit, if you haven't seen it, it's this boy who's been
So good.
indoctrinated by
He's a Nazi boy.
Nazis propaganda with the Hitler Youth.
Yeah.
And his best imaginary friend is Adolf Hitler, which Taika Waititi plays. What do you go? Heil Hitler! Show me you mean Heil Hitler! Heil Hitler! And it's just hilarious because you have kind of these outcasts from society. Sam Rockwell. They told me I could not go back and serve with one eye. Could one with one eye do this? And he's shooting. And it's just like
Sam Rockwell's great in that.
It's hilarious. It's comic gold.
And it's got and
it hits the emotional beats hard.
Yeah.
From the dad going missing to what eventually happens to the rest of his family. And they do it in a very tasteful way. But man, does it have an emotional punch.
I mean, even
that's the thing about that movie
Yeah.
is it's incredible how much of an impact the story and the characters have given the general silly premise of it.
But the subject matter too, that he took on this very dark. The mom is hiding someone who she saved from a concentration camp. She's hiding a girl in the walls. And he's like, Jews can read your mind. I have to be. And it's just all this crazy stuff the propaganda has told him. And I think Rebel Wilson at one time is like, it's a great time
Oh yeah, I forgot she's
to be a woman in Germany. I just had child 18. Heil Hitler. It's just like, and you're pointing the fact that like certain people aren't welcome. But Taika Waititi is this screwball comedy writer that takes on some very serious themes, like even the theme of death and What We Do with the Shadows. And it's treated with some reverence. And even the old lady, like, I think that touched me, like him and this old lady finally finding each other and him biting her at the end of her life.
A lot of his writing has lots of themes of sincerity.
Yes.
Like, as how I would put it. Like,
Yeah.
Jojo Rabbit, even Thor Ragnarok, when you look at that movie, because that movie really connected with me, because I was looking you it was such a really great example of the MCU figuring out how to fix itself.
Yes.
Because you had Thor Dark World, which was not a great Marvel movie.
Very, very
It was
epic.
okay.
It was more in the like Wagnerian saga.
And it was like
It was very serious.
you know. And then they're like, what if we just go in the complete opposite direction and we give
For number
Taika a chance to bring him in? And I think that was a really smart move. And the sincerity extends in the writing between Loki and Thor. You have reconciliation in the story with them, and reconciliation with Thor becoming who he truly is meant to be, the leader of Asgard, with his father dying and having to fight another person that is also his family.
And actually having a revolution and freeing all these people that are Jeff Goldblum's prisoners.
And accepting who he And it's just, I thought it was really beautiful. Like I won't spoil it, but the ending, like near the end where he has the vision with his father and he's talking to him. He's like, no, it's okay, boy. That's just how it is. And it's like, oh, this is so beautiful. And it's so well earned.
The scene where Odin dies.
Yeah.
That both of his sons are there.
Yeah.
And that we see even when we go into other things, even Loki is kind of like, I'm Odin's son.
And that even leads into
that's my dad.
Infinity War and how that all went.
Yeah. I really feel like they did a good job with Ragnarok.
Ragnarok was a great movie. Not perfect by any means, but rather great. Which made me really sad when
Love and Thunder
came out, because it was just like it had so many the potential to be a really great film.
And there were funny moments, like him holding the things apart with his legs. Thaddeus just lost it. He's like, and he's holding the two things.
It's like it was. It had the potential to be great, and they just kind of like, I don't know, something went wrong during the production of that movie.
COVID happened and everything got interrupted.
I think they were given an insane budget. There wasn't much care put into the pre-work of the film. Like everything was done in post. I feel like in this film,
put in, and then COVID happened, and that kind of derailed things.
But I remember reading stories of like, oh, the cast is all down in Australia in quarantine right now for 2 weeks, and they're gonna start filming.
I couldn't imagine.
And it's like they have every star in the film. They have you could tell they're putting so much money into this movie, and it's like, oh my God,
how
the
much
special
effects are gorgeous.
And they're gorgeous. They're amazing.
And the
Christian
casting,
Bale is the
Christian
villain?
Bale was.
This is awesome.
Was epic as the villain.
And all of the recipe, most of the recipe that they pitched was like, it got me amped. It was exciting. It was like, this can't be right. This can't be bad. This is going to be only good because Ragnarok was so good, right?
Now, I did think the story with Jane and letting things you love go.
That was cool.
That was very touching. Yeah. And like the whole point of this villain's mission is, I prayed to the gods. They let my child die. Why should I love the gods? I'm going to kill the gods. And like even Thor's like, what do you want? You could have whatever you want. And he goes, I choose love, which is the name of the girl. And I thought that was a really nice message.
Yeah,
and Jane
and the whole thing with the kids, him giving the power to the kids was cool.
Yes.
I thought that was really neat. And that made me excited because that was more callbacks to like the sincerity thing we were talking about in his writing.
But the execution,
wasn't that great.
A lot of the jokes were just too over the top.
Too much.
And they didn't they weren't really funny.
They were
just kind of like
there. They were there.
Yeah, they were just there, and there was way too many of them.
Yeah, and it's not like
and then you had Natalie Portman being "I am woman, hear me, Thor." Yeah. No, thank you.
This is very true.
And I thought that would have been a cool, like, intricate thing. But then you have the whole Valkyrie stuff in there as well, which makes really just no sense.
Was so confusing.
It's very
Especially
confusing.
too, the Valkyrie was the weakest character in Ragnarok. Like they should have cut the Valkyrie out of Ragnarok.
Well, it was pitched as she was going to go. The whole like one of the main plot points of the film originally, when it was pitched, was she's going to go find her queen because she's a lesbian. That was one of the pitches. But we never see it in the movie. So it's like, come on, what are you guys?
Well, that's
dedicate.
That's the thing is, though, the character from the beginning was designed for the actress to be able to play out all her, all her
strong female characters,
her rainbow sort of persona that she has.
See, the Korg rock guy found a gay person.
Well,
to be
also
with,
it's like,
but it's
Tessa Thompson.
But it doesn't. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that.
It doesn't matter. Yeah,
she is that. But the whole character was literally just designed for her to be like a quirky lesbian Valkyrie. So whether or not they executed that well enough in of itself is a moot point, because the character wasn't designed or written well to begin with.
Well, in Ragnarok, you care for her, I think.
I don't care for her.
Well,
I wish she was dead. I wish she died. Every point she was on screen, every single point I saw her on screen, I wish something bad would happen to her. I hated her. She was the worst character.
In Ragnarok or in
Ragnarok?
Really?
Literally, every scene she was in, I wish she would have died. I wish she would have died.
See, I think of her more in the second one. I felt like they didn't execute her well.
The second one, the first one,
kind of a side
because you see the flashback when Loki starts fighting
her. That's
her.
the thing that saved Ragnarok for me, is the fact that she was a side character. If she was one of the main characters, I would have probably not gotten through that movie.
I think I
would have broke the Blu-ray disc in half. Man, I hated her.
You're giving the audio
hated her.
You know, you guys were talking about Monkey Man a couple weeks ago, or episodes ago.
Yeah.
And you said there's this really weird scene where he's injured, and then he's in this temple.
Yeah.
With all the
I didn't like spoil
the transition characters, because they do have that in the Indian culture. But it's made this huge.
But it's made a big part of it. And I feel like that's in there. Well, I'll let you finish.
No, I feel like that's kind of what Disney has done with everything, because that's the thing that is most popular and they're getting harassed about. It's like the Star Wars. We're going to have a strong female character. I'm like, no.
Don't bring in Star Wars.
Don't tell me that. Don't tell me she's
David is already excited enough.
Show me. Just show me. And the problem is that's, I think, the issue with the writing. They don't show, they just tell you.
Well, I think that goes back to, because this is a symptom of bad writing in Hollywood, and relying on, hey, I'm going to put this in my script because this is going to give me brownie points, and it's going to get my script. I'm appeasing it, and I'm going to get my script greenlit, because this kind of stuff gets scripts greenlit.
That's my problem with the Valkyrie character in and of itself, is taking what is otherwise a fantastic movie and trying to shoehorn something in that's poorly written and clearly doesn't work.
Yeah.
Just so you can,
Also, in the pitch meeting, it's like that was
some brownie points.
That was a major aspect, and it seems like they were gonna go there, But because they have to sell in China, because if they sell in other territories, they don't accept that stuff like that. It makes sense.
And that's the problem.
That's the problem.
That's the problem. The fact that was a major selling point is,
and then there's nothing to it at all.
Is diversifying
mandatory diversity.
The cast. That was their selling point for the movie, not all the other great actors, not the great writing, not the humor, not the amazing special effects, not the interesting take on the story.
Yeah.
Well,
but
it's tokenism.
Exactly.
That's why it's so funny in South Park. The one black character's name is Token. Because you are our token character. We're going to throw you out there. But it's such a true criticism of what Hollywood does, that we're just going to give you these tokens of things to appease this group of people. It's not about making good art.
And it's not even about appeasing that group of people, because a lot of times
it doesn't.
A lot of times people who are in that group are not happy with the way these token characters are executed. Yeah. It's more just to make these, mega rich Hollywood types feel just a little bit better about themselves.
About being white, I think, yes.
Well, I just find it, Monkey Man, let's go back to Monkey Man really quick, and then we'll go to Dead Alive.
No, but I thought that was an interesting point you brought up a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, well, with Monkey Man, I was on board, and I still am on board with the movie. I generally thought it was a great movie. It's free on Prime right now if you want to go watch it.
Yeah,
great action movie. Dave Patel, right? That's his kid.
Yeah, Dave Patel.
He was in The Green Knight, which I loved.
Oh, that was
and it's an acquired taste movie. But anyway, Monkey Man is very arty, but it was good. But Monkey Man is like this John Wick style, set in India. It's grungy. It's really incredibly well directed and choreographed.
Well.
And it works. It's great and awesome. And it's like, give me more of this. And it's really good.
There's just this off-tone thing in the middle.
It's just that, and it's not like I have anything against people who live that way or are struggling with that. It's just that I find that aspect of the script and the story and the way they get the character from point A to point B could have been it was forced.
It
and
was
it feels
forced.
like it was in there because this is how you get your script greenlit in Hollywood.
Yes, very
because
true.
that's what, and if you look up stuff like, because a lot of people on YouTube hate Chris Stuckman right now, just because they think he's a bought and paid for reviewer, which he's not. He's a great fellow who's actually making.
What did he do?
Chris Stuckman's the movie reviewer on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Like him and Jeremy Johns used to
Yes.
collaborate.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Okay.
But Chris Stuckman brought this up because he had to write a script and had to produce a film. And he said, there's a lot of companies, and the big ones you go out there, they're looking for stuff to check mark a box so that they can sell it to the most people that
this
they
is
can.
how we market it.
Yeah, correct. But, and especially in the culture in Hollywood and everything like that. But you won't get greenlit unless you have certain, he alluded to it. He didn't say it outright, but he alluded to stuff like certain elements of social commentary or social relevancy in the script. And it's really unfortunate because that takes away and hinders creativity. But Hollywood's been doing that forever. So,
well, and I think at the root of that, the real issue is it's not that we want to make this art that might be watched 10 or 20 years down the road.
Yeah.
It's all about money now.
Yeah, like
and I think the problem is when there's nothing wrong with money being a component, but when money is the thing that you're driving, it's never going to satisfy you or your audience. And I feel like I can watch What We Do in the Shadows and I can laugh at it and it makes my day better. Not because it's Shakespeare, but because it's funny and it's dry and it's making fun of these real life things we all laugh about. Who doesn't want their roommate to do the dishes?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. Or like, oh, hey, these are the bros that are the group, the nice fraternity. Or no, this is the club scene. It's not really a great club scene. You know, it's just it's just a chill out place for nerds.
Yeah.
The budget for What We Do in the Shadows, by the way, was only 1.6 million. And then it made 3 million in US and Canada, and then the worldwide was 7.4. That's pretty cool. They made all their money back. So, and they probably only spent probably, I mean, not probably much on marketing at all. So.
Well, and I think, isn't it interesting, this teeny place where Lord of the Rings came out, like there's just some amazing art that's come out of there. And I feel like tailing on to that looking at the other film we did
I feel,
may not be the same level caliber of art, but I still found it interesting.
That's a great word to use because we're going to dive in